Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the MI podcast. So today we'll discuss of nostalgia in marketing. Basically, nostalgia is that feeling that we have that when we see something, when we are due to which we are reminded of a time that somewhere in our life we did something great. There's like a positive experience, right? So when we see that kind of imagery or there's something projected that we kind of remember those positive feelings, we are again transported to that time, and that just creates kind of a dopamine release. Like you enjoy that time, you just remember like, okay, that's the golden time. Like I was growing up, I was there. That was my like my first crush was there, or it was my first great job I had, or friend I had, or something like I performed really great, people cheered for me or something, when I was in school or something. So those kind of nostalgic moments that are there in every person's life, that is brought back by certain, you can say, events at that time. People relate with it, that there was a positive time. So there was a certain, like, you can say, a movie playing at that time, or you was kind of some song was there. So these are all these kind of references that we look at. And then there is a kind of a positive feeling, a generation of dopamine that happens in within us when we see this thing. So marketers, obviously, they look at arousing various emotions, because unless you arouse emotions in your any kind of prospect you have, that guy will never be connected to your brand. There is something or the other, some emotion has to be generated so that he remembers you, or you know relates with your product or service in some way, and goes down the funnel. Matlab, he, from starting where they are not maybe aware of your brand or not aware of your product, to the time they become loyalists. So you have to arouse various feelings, right? So nostalgia is one of them, where you create that nostalgic effect, right, from them. So in terms of references now, like you see the Pepsi logo, that has been, they made a new logo, and if you see, this is similar to the ones they had in the 90s. So this is an example of nostalgia marketing, right? The people, I mean, say, who have grown up in the 90s, and then now when they look at that, they get those positive feelings, and then they're more likely to maybe go and purchase those cans of Pepsi or something. Is seeing the new logo and all that. So that is one great example. Another one which we all are aware, closer to home, is the Campa Cola thing. So the Campa Cola brand was a huge cola brand in the 70s, 80s, and all. And then when the liberalization happened in the early 90s, and they allowed major foreign brands to come and set up shop fully, almost investment, in some cases even like 100% FDI was allowed. So you had these major brands coming down, and like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and all, and they took over that market, and then I think that brand fizzled out and all that. So it was, recently I think that was bought, and now they've launched it. The Reliance Group had bought Campa Cola brand, and now they are launching. So they are, and why did they do this? Is about the nostalgia in that, in Campa Cola, like maybe those people who have grown up in 70s, 80s, and they were aware of that. um, it then relates them to the time of their childhood or something. So somewhere they want to, get those, arouse those feelings, and then you create a good customer base to come and visit your program product, compared to if you would have an entirely new cola brand or something. So what are the keys in this, and why does this work, nostalgia marketing? Let's just go through the same. So firstly, you're creating that nostalgic imagery and language that is used, around those times. When you say You talk about like a retro, flavor coming in, like a flavor which was earlier, right, in Pepsi, which was tried at some point or something, and then again it's relaunching or something. So something like that would create that great effect, a nostalgic effect among your customers, and they would grow. So you remember those, right, in your childhood days. Even now, you would remember the snacks you eating. Maybe those brands were at that time, but you still remember. They might not be now, but you have that because it's like you remember the things in your childhood and maybe your younger days, right? Like you relate with that. Like this was the thing what I was having and all. And if that brand comes up again, you will be the first to revisit it, especially if enjoyed that and had some positive experiences with those brands, products, or services. So this would definitely create that particular thing. Like even when you say throwback, a lot of these terms are using in social media. Then they create like that same product with the throwback design or something of that, which was like a packaging used say in the 90s, and they are again showcasing it for, I mean, putting it out there for some of the products. And also those kind of, I've seen in many products, they have flown off the shelf because it's that effect that created, and then that buzz is there, and then creates that great pent up demand, and then those products and services are sold out. So that was a great way of kind of using it. Then you have your cultural references. So those references which were popular at that point of time, they again remind them of the particular product or services at that time. Maybe in your advertising you can use that, at the time maybe in 70s when bell bottoms was used, or like polka dot dresses or something like that. So those, if they are used in the advertising, that's not like specific for a product or service over there, but if it's used within your advertising, that creates that nostalgic effect within your prospects. Then, as I said, the product re-releasing happening, like in Campa Cola, it will be a re-release, right? There was a brand at that time, the Cola, and also they are just releasing it. Maybe they'll change a bit of it in terms of the logo and all. The name obviously remains the same. And in these cases, these products are released to create, because very important role of a marketer is to a new kind of a product or a feature, also to suggest and work with the product team for the same. What can get it to, what can we do to push that product more with certain things within the messaging and advertising and packaging and all that. So product re-releases can happen which were done, or products were released earlier, even if they were maybe not successful, maybe in some way it can, because it will create that nostalgic effect. And also this is one thing which marketers can do. Here I would say most of the brands, obviously, when they've stayed in for a long time, like when you have these major brands that have been there for 20, 30, even 40 odd years, they can do these things, obviously, because they have that whole legacy of theirs, which can be used to tap around the thing. You even see not only product relaunches, but even relaunches of like a slogan or some kind of a marketing theme or something, of their campaigns and all. So there are various ways to kind of utilize this. uh, Coming to the brand heritage thing, as I said, the brands who have more, these legacies, they can tap into that. So there is a certain, you can say, history, like people who grew up in the 80s would relate to like the Bajaj thing. The Hamara Bajaj campaign is so much hit. Maybe their father used to leave them on the scooter to the school or something. So these kind of things, are people's emotions are attached to that. With that product, they were doing something which is so memorable, experiences. Because what is life about? Life is about experiences and what you attach to. Now, when that product is an integral element of that, then it that recall value and that happiness that is generated is so important. Very important is to generate that happiness towards your product or service. That is when the true branding stands out, definitely. Awesome. So now lastly would be the emotional appeal that is there, because there is that familiarity that happens. So how do you create that emotional appeal is definitely within your um, advertising or your marketing message that you have to remind them, like of those times and all, like. So there was, I think, a very interesting campaign of Maggie, of wherein they said that write about your experience with Maggie, like what is your very pehli Maggie or something. I think that was the campaign. So what was your experience of first Maggie? Maybe when you were in the hostel, you made it for the first time, or you out trekking somewhere and you made your Maggie there or something. So something like that was your experience where you made your Maggie yourself, or in like a unique setting. You had the Maggie and all and shared with your friends or something. So that was very well. There was a very good example in an emotional appeal that was created, for your brand, because you remember those kind of moments. That's such a positive. It brings a smile on your face when you remember those moments, and then associated and reinforced by the brands through nostalgia marketing. Then there's nothing like that in terms of the positive element that what actually marketing is about. Awesome. So it was a great, I think, episode here on nostalgia marketing, and definitely it can be tried out. As I said, a little bit, brands that have been around the time. If you're a marketer for them, you can utilize that. Do quite a bit of research. If you are working for a big brand who's been for a long time, you can see the timeline. What kind of campaigns you've done. If you can go through that, like nostalgia marketing, I mean, there's so many. If you even see movies and all, you come up with very movies that have come 20, 30 years when you have these sequels and all coming in, is because it is that nostalgia effect that you create, like that positive feeling that you had when experience a movie. You are again going to get it in some form or the other. So you're buying into that, right? So marketing would go beyond that. That would be in, it can utilize in various different ways. So that nostalgic element, I feel, study it about your brand and what things can be maybe re-released, right, as a campaign, or like a product itself, where you can utilize that to create that positive emotion, basically arouse that deja vu feeling for them, right? Which would kind of create that great awesome experience for your client. And that's what it's all about. Now you create that. What is the marketing, what is brand, is those experiences that is created. Awesome. So thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. I'll see you until the next time. See you. Take care.